What we commonly mean by choice is actually command of the Lord. This is just another one of those examples to show how the world of man is the opposite of the truth. How seriously we really take this in our modern culture. A verse like this we kind of just think as poetry or something. God forbid, yea, let God be true and every man a liar. Every man. So I don't think modern man would take this seriously, that every man's a liar. I think he thinks the opposite's true. Every man's not a liar. If we take this to be literal for what it says, then every person is a liar. We should be able to see signs of this all over the place, where masses and masses of people think something is the case and it's not. In other words, masses and masses of people think X is true, but really not X is true. I think that the free will theology is one of the best examples of this, where all over, everybody thinks this is true. The whole concept of free will theology does not make any sense, because if you'd have to be sitting there thinking, oh, I'm going to choose all these choices. You have to be thinking about this and making these decisions. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's living on autopilot, and nobody's aware even what their mind is doing hardly. There's nothing like that going on. And even if there was, it kind of looks like this. If free will consciousness were to exist and I were to freely choose my thoughts, I have to be thinking the following. Now I'm going to choose this, to think this thought. But to that, then these thoughts can't be implanted. They would be the product of free will choices. Then I have to think of myself, now I'm going to have to choose to think that thought. This never ends, it doesn't make any sense. We know John 8:44, the devil's the father of lies. Those who sin are of the devil, 1 John 3:8. So the scripture all over the place is telling us, man is not true, man is a liar. And he doesn't know it. Anyway, let's talk about the free will theology a second. Let's look at some verses. Let's look at Jeremiah 29:11 here. For I know the thoughts I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. It can be expected if we're freely choosing and changing things up all the time. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. People usually think, oh yeah, I'm doing this. But this could be taken as a command. Then ye shall call on me. This is like saying you're going to call on me. If God says you're going to call on me, there's no option B. Either we do what he says, or we sin. 1 John 3:4, the definition of sin is violation of the command of the Lord. So if he says do X and we say no, we sin. So there's no choice in the matter. So people usually say, oh, we have a choice here. There's actually no choice. You could say, oh, but you just said, Jeff, the person's going to choose to do otherwise a sin. The way I put it, and sort of my reinvention of hyper-Calvinism that I've been working on for many years, a person either follows the Lord, or if their soul is not structured where the Lord sufficiently indwells or indwells at all in that soul, then the soul can't listen to the commands. There's no choice. It either is going to be chosen and be able to obey the command, or unchosen and not. Now, I'm not saying it's actually that black and white, but something like that I think is going on. Some kind of range of behaviors like this, where choices has nothing to do with anything. And you look at 13. Ye shall seek me and find me when ye search for me with all your heart. I think people usually think of this as some kind of a test. Oh, do we have what it takes to seek him with all our heart? No, it's well, I don't hear anything like any human volition in here. I hear the Lord saying, you will seek me and you will find me, period. So that's going to happen. And it's at the time when the seeking is with our full heart. Okay, now most people say, oh, we're doing this. Well, why would we be doing this? Why wouldn't God do this? In a verse like John 15:5 says, apart from him, we can do nothing. Why does everybody ignore that verse? I mean, I bring this verse up all the time and people act like I'm a troublemaker. There's another one, Isaiah 26:12. The Lord will do all our works in us. Anyway, these are commands here. What we think of as free will choices. People say, oh, man has a choice to do all this. Does not say that anywhere in here, nothing. It says God's doing it. I know the thoughts I think toward you. Here's the intro. He's setting us in place. He's thinking everything into existence. Genesis 1. He's speaking everything into existence. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. From his heart, the mouth speaks and he creates to give you an expected end. If there's free will, it can't be one. So what we're talking about is this. In modern Sunday theology, what are considered as free will choice verses are actually commands from the Lord. Command meaning do X, there's no option B. There's no option to do anything else. I'm saying do this. I'm not saying there's another choice. So why do we think there's a choice? Because people do otherwise. Maybe their souls dictated what they're going to do because their souls are full of sin and hardness. How many verses say that in the scripture? Their hearts were hard. Okay, it doesn't say they made a bad choice. Their hearts were hard and then they sinned. Sounds like either you do the command of the Lord because he's pulling you to him and he's saying do X, you say okay. And when you do it, there's no choice. You're doing the only option that's given. So there's not option B, no choice. And if someone doesn't do that, they simply sin, and they didn't do it because they're 1 Corinthians 15:42. Their soul has corruption, created with corruption. Therefore, they do not have the capacity to follow the command of the Lord. So then they do sin. No choice in the matter. So in modern Sunday theology, what's considered free will choice versus are actually commands of the Lord. It's just like we said here. Man is a liar. Man is untruth. He thinks that the truth is false and the false is true. Psalm 116:11. All men are liars. There's 2 verses. Modern man doesn't believe this. Modern man thinks he has the truth. He knows truth. Ask him to verify it for you and he'll become angry at you, and he won't be able to show you the verification.